Hey Optimancers, Chris here. For the past few months I've been diving through Tasha's Cauldron of Everything in detail and analyzing it. Today I'm going to go through the Soulknife roguish archetype. Before we dive in, if you would like to support this channel, a link is available in the video description to support me through Patreon. You can get rewards like early ad-free video access or join me for some role-playing each month. So let's talk Soulknife. The Soulknife is a rogue who uses psionic powers to enhance their roguish ability, most notably through manifesting a blade of psychic energy that they attack with. We have seen the Soulknife before in previous editions, and it was notable as a pretty terrible option. Fortunately, the Soulknife does a lot better in 5th edition, and in my opinion, vies for one of the most powerful rogue archetypes there is. Right at 3rd level, the Soulknife does very, very well. We get 2 features, and they're both top-notch. The first is Psionic Power, which is really very tasty. Our Psionic Power is represented by a pool of psionic energy equal to twice our proficiency bonus, so we get 4 uses right off the bat, and we eventually get 12. This pool is recovered after a long rest. We also regain an additional use after any rest using a bonus action. This doesn't need to be done right away after the rest, can be done at any time before we take another rest. So if we think about a 3rd level Soulknife, we actually get 4 points off the bat, another using a bonus action, and then, assuming we take, say, 2 more short rests, we get 2 more points. That would be 7 points total. That's quite a bit, and it scales nicely as well. In some cases, these points are used to add dice, and when they do so, it's a d6. Though not all uses involve a die roll. This also scales with level. It becomes D8 at level 5, D10s at level 11, and D12s at level 17. We get 2 uses for our psionic energy dice. The first is the Psi Bolstered Knack. If you fail a skill or a tool ability check for which you have proficiency, you can roll 1 psionic energy die and add the result. Get this though, if the result still fails, you don't lose the psionic point. So basically, use this every time you can. This is way better than guidance, but it also does stack with guidance as well. Just a little optimization note, Jeremy Crawford has said that if you're getting a half proficiency bonus from something like Jack of all trades from Bard, for example, that counts as proficiency in the ability check. So a 2-level Bard dip on a Soulknife rogue is going to be a beast for pretty much any skill or tool check, regardless of the ability score it's based off of. You do get more though. You also get Psychic Whispers. This is yet another form of telepathy. This allows you to set up telepathic communication with a number of creatures equal to your proficiency bonus for a number of hours equal to a roll of the psionic energy die roll. You need to be able to see the creatures you set this up with, and the range of this telepathy extends for up to 1 mile. Now, not all telepathy is created equally, and this is a good example, as you do not need to share a language with the creature to be able to communicate this way. So basically, don't bother with the tongue spell if someone in your party has this feature. Maybe don't even bother with Rary's telepathic bond. I should mention as well, this doesn't even use your psionic energy die the first time you use it. So these are 2 pretty solid uses for your psionic points, and in both cases, they don't even necessarily use those points. And this, by the way, is maybe the weaker of the 2 3rd level features this subclass gets at 3rd level. The other feature gained at 3rd level is the Psychic Blades, and this of course is the reason you are taking the Soulknife subclass in the first place. And thank you, they do not use up your psionic energy points. Whenever you take the attack action, you manifest a Psychic Blade from your free hand and you attack with that blade. It has both the finesse and thrown properties. It can be thrown up to 60 feet without any ranged penalties, and it does a d6 plus your ability modifier in psychic damage. Once you make that attack, you can make another melee or ranged weapon attack with a second psychic blade as a bonus action as long as your other hand is free. The damage on the second attack is a d4 instead of a d6. So this checks so many boxes for Rogue. First, it can be used in melee or at range. You get a bonus action attack whether you are in melee or at range. You get your ability score added to the bonus action attack damage. Your damage type is super reliable, so you don't need a magic weapon. There is only really one downside here I can think of. Because this is going to be your weapon of choice, you are not really going to be getting that much out of magical weapons you may find while adventuring. Or if that magical weapon is so good you want to use it instead of this feature, then you're using it instead of this feature, which kind of defeats the whole point of playing a Soulknife. That doesn't mean I think this feature isn't great. It is great. It does the right kind of damage. It gives you your bonus action attack. It can be used in melee. It can be used at ranged. Just be aware that sacrificing the acquirement of magic weapons is part of it. That takes us to 9th level, and we get Soul Blades. We get 2 more uses for our Psionic Energy dice, which is probably a good thing, because with 8 base dice, as well as bonus action die recovery, as well as the free uses of our previous abilities, we're probably having difficulty using them all anyways. The first one we get is Homing Strikes. Whenever you miss with an attack, you can roll a Psionic Energy die and add the number to the attack roll, and maybe turn that miss into a hit. Now, this makes me think of Precision Attack with the Battle Master. But unlike Precision Attack, this only uses the die if it successfully turns the miss into a hit. Never mind we have a lot more dice than the Battle Master. The thing is that Precision Attack is pretty good, and this is just better, so this is really good. Secondly, we get Psychic Teleportation. This gives us a bonus action teleport. The maximum range is random. It's 10 times our Psionic Energy die roll. So right now we'd be using d8s, so anywhere from 10 to 80 feet. This is fairly similar to a Misty Step spell, with a greater average range, but a less reliable range. This one is decent, but not amazing for this level. Still, it's a decent add-on to a non-spellcasting rogue. So this is the point, where our 3rd level features are not necessarily our best use of Psionic Energy. Homing Strikes is something I would definitely see using a lot of dice on. Probably every time I miss, in fact. That brings us to 13th level, where we get Psychic Veil. So this gives us invisibility, similar to the spell, except it isn't using our concentration. We can use this once for free, then again if we use Psionic Energy dice. So this isn't a terrible ability, but it doesn't match what we've gotten so far. Invisibility, it's a 2nd level spell, and we were duplicating or exceeding the power levels of 2nd level spells at earlier levels using our Psionic dice. Still, invisibility has a natural synergy with Rogue, and we could stay invisible for a long time if we needed to. So overall, this still isn't bad, but less exciting than our previous abilities, at least in my opinion. Finally, at 17th level, we get Rend Mind. So once per long rest, we can deliver a stunning strike, in some way similar to what a monk can do, but technically a little bit better. First, it targets a wisdom save, which should be more reliable than targeting a constitution save. Secondly, it actually at least uses our attack ability to determine the difficulty. And thirdly, it can last 10 times longer. We can use this again if we spend, get this, 3 Psionic Energy dice. I actually consider this the weakest ability a Soulknife gets. I mean, at least considering the level we get it, but maybe overall regardless of level. We can only really use this once, as I don't consider it worth 3 Psionic dice to use it again. Think about it. 3 Psionic Energy dice are 3 misses we could have turned into hits. This one also uses the dice even if the ability doesn't work, which has not been the standard up to this point. So essentially, it's a single-use save or suck that realistically is usable once per day and gives a repeat save every round. So this ability, not my cup of tea. That said, it's the 17th level ability. In most campaigns, I'm not even reaching that level. So all in all, I think the Soulknife is a very potent rogue. Comes in like gangbusters right at level 3. In fact, it's almost outrageous what we get at level 3. Now we follow that up with a very potent ability at level 9, and as far as I'm concerned, that's more than enough to recommend this subclass, as this covers the level progression of most campaigns, even if we're single-classed. I also see this as a strong multi-class contender though. There are some abilities in both our level 3 and level 9 suites that could work well in a multi-class. Cybolster Knack I could see being useful on any build. Psychic Blades would be great on a number of builds. Homing Strikes is a great addition as well. And note that while our psionic energy die types only scale with more levels of Soulknife, our number of dice scale regardless of multiclassing. So those are the rogues and Tashas, and quite a difference between the two. I think both subclasses are tempting to use, but Phantom is one I would reserve for a big level investment. While Soulknife I can see being great with as little as 3 levels, but I think you actually get less at the higher levels. Overall, I think the Soulknife is probably stronger because I prefer getting more earlier than later. But depending on the level we're playing, if somebody's running a one-shot at 13th level, I might be far more inclined to do the Phantom. So next I'm going to be looking at Warlocks, and there's a lot of territory to cover in Tasha's, so I hope you'll join me for that. Until then, I'm going to sit back, relax, and have some fun. D&D's for everyone. Thanks everyone. Talk to you soon.